Hey, so in this video, what I want to do is break down essentially what our service covers, the areas where we feel we differentiate from competitors and how we want to put our own stamp and how we put our own stamp on growing fitness businesses. So the whole idea for developing, what I call a thesis, but just an idea behind growing businesses was just identifying the shortcomings in which I see every fitness business fall into at the moment. And it looks something like this, where they've got an urgency-based offer, they have a little bit of interest, or maybe they have a lot of interest, but they just convert some of that interest into sales, and every time they need to grow, they launch that offer. So they almost have this yo-yo effect, but maybe their retention or product makes up for it, where you've got these times of the year, September, January, you're looking for 20, 10, 5 people in whatever area. You then drive those people to a lead magnet, convert as many as you can, and that is your marketing tactic essentially. Now what happens over time is this kind of urgency-based offer tends to deteriorate in its effectiveness. Yes, it provides that initial ramp, but what we've seen is problems with client quality and actually retention, and then also problems with sustainability of that approach. People get tired of there's that guy, there's that girl with that same offer again, and it can come across and actually damage brand perception after a while. So the way we like to look at marketing, and the way I like to look at it, is taking a lot of, taking a lot of knowledge or taking a lot of learnings from big corporations and also from the private equity world. So when we look at what growth is best for a business, and I'll break it down in a second, but really there's a main quadrant that we look at. Do they need to maintain growth with less sales and marketing costs? Do we need to implement a longer term sales approach? Do they need to just invest instead of trading time for money? Can we take some of that money that they now have and start to invest that to buy back time and get them more, essentially lead sales, all of that kind of thing. Creating sales and marketing leverage. Do we need to add channels, components, remove you as the bottleneck, remove certain bottlenecks? And then how do we take people from a one-time service model to recurring? So these are kind of the main barriers we look to solve. And this is all about how do we sell it on the front end? What does the sales process look like? That kind of thing. But really the main thing that we want to focus on is how can we turn your business from, a sales-based organization into almost like an education-based organization. So if you look at any of the big players, in the UK, Ireland, in the US, the ones that sustainably grow and do so while building a brand are the ones that own your attention. If you look at any of the big influencers in the space, the reason why they can sustainably grow is because they're consistently educating you, whether you like it or not. They own your attention. So what our business does is we look at every facet of your business. So we look at the market. Can we gather insights, resources to enable you to really get specific on who the avatar you're going after is? Who could get the biggest ROI from accessing these resources being training, nutrition, support? Who could you almost guarantee success to and who can afford it? We narrow down on who you want to target. We then help you develop a 6-figure offer, or what we call a 6-figure offer. What's the core belief of that market? What do they want? How do they want to be told about it? And then delivery of that. How can we give it to them easily? Is it 4, 6, 8 week package? Is it training plus nutrition? And can we almost guarantee results? Can we be quite aggressive in the market and say, if you don't lose 5 pounds in 5 weeks, you train with us for free or something to that effect. So this is pretty much like overlooking. This is done in 3-4 days when you come on board. But after that, it's down to attention. So now that we've identified who and what, now it's how do we get in front of them? So really when we look at attention, we've got people, code and media, and we've got channels in which to use. So do we look at dropping people within your business, $3 to $6 an hour virtual assistants to nurture your organic profile, appointment setting specialists, just like Rogan, who we've placed with a client recently, where they actually call the leads, they're trained salespeople. And then can we look at paid ads, organic hand raisers, 2-step posts, and then CRMs, so email, SMS marketing. The goal of this is to educate 500 people per day. Why 500? Because 1% of 500 gets you a minimum 1% conversion of just continually educating 500 people, gets you 5 inquiries per day. For most businesses to handle 150 inquiries per month is dreamland. Then we need to look at, right, we've got the people, we've got, the channel or the code, the media, the ways in which, the vehicles in which we're going to use. Now we need to look at the channels in which we're going to distribute that. So there's a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google, YouTube. What this equates to is interest, and the goal is to get 3 to 20 leads per day. After that, we're directing all of these people not to book a call. We want to own their attention. So we need email, phone number. All of these will go to our email list, Facebook group, and then into our automatic nurturing sequences so that we can own an asset. If you look at any of the big businesses, anytime they want to release a new update, just like Apple, everyone has the phone, so then they own your attention. The next natural step is to actually upsell, and they don't need to market that extensively to actually bring out the new product. The goal of this, and this may seem a little bit flimsy to you, but the goal of this is to build an asset. And that asset being you own attention, you have users. If you look at Instagram is the biggest example. They owned your attention with Instagram. So when they launched Threads, it was one of the fastest social media platforms that ever grew. And why was that? Because they could feed you into their ecosystem. If you own someone's attention and they attended a 6-week challenge with you, they're much more likely to be sold and much easier to be sold into your ongoing recurring packages. So for a lot of people, if you could have an email list of 10,000 people in your area, and every time you sent an email, you converted at 0.51%, you can do the maths on that. And that's zero ad spend, zero cost to you, and much, much higher engagement and higher commitment from the people that you're speaking to because they know, like, trust you already. After that, for the people that we now own their attention, it's now how can we educate them over time? So the main vehicle we're going to use to do that is content. And then what we're going to use is problem-solving VSLs, so 3 to 5 minute videos tackling certain topics that break beliefs or empower desires of the people that you're targeting. And then 60-second sales letters, i.e. TikTok shorts, that style of content, which target a specific belief, desire, and then break that down and provide a path to solving it or achieving it. Then we distribute this content on our email list, to our Facebook group, to our YouTube, social, and outbound via our virtual assistants. So we're leveraging this. So when we look at the top again, creating sales and marketing leverage, we're creating one piece of content, i.e. a problem-solving VSL, 3 to 5 minute video breaking down how women over 40 can lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks, whatever it may be. But we're getting all of this distribution out of it. And then educated prospects, the goal here is to have buyers, people you can easily sell to. Selling shouldn't be hard. Sales, we can then look at the conversation, the consultations, retargeting ads, process selling VSL, sales system scripts, which is equal to money, which is where you want, obviously, to be. So sales, the conversation, how do we actually escalate from conversation to consultation? Then around the consultation, how are we constantly reminding them with retargeting ads, the social proof, the amazing results that we get? And then before those sales calls, how are we sending them loads of process selling VSLs? Here's our process, here's why it's unique. So I know I've kind of covered a lot of things organic at a high level, but we're looking for who? We're looking for what they want, a really, really good offer. We're looking for then how can we get that in front of as many people as possible to generate 3 to 20 leads per day. We're then looking at, out of all of that interest that we're now generating, how can we get the leads, but also how can we build an asset of thousands of people so that we consistently have a vehicle in which we can educate people so that we can have people you can sell to easily. And then how can we build a sales system that leads from conversations to consultations, which then lead into our sales script. So over time, this is completely cyclical. And to reference what a lot of people do is they come up with an offer, they identify a market, and they go straight from attention to sales. And they hopefully convert that 3 to 5%, whereas this makes it impossible. If you have someone that you generate attention and you now own it, they're just feeding back from education to owned attention, and they just go in this feedback loop all the time. Education, attention, education, attention. So every time you educate them, you're doing so in a way where it's pushing them closer to a sale, and the cost of it to you is very minimal, and the upside for you is huge. So how we look to achieve this is over, this is an example of a 4-month process. Stage 1, we look to set up all the systems, the back end, using high level. We then launch a database reactivation campaign, so taking all of that interest you have already and launching your new offer to them. And this is going to provide the testing ground for your offer that you'll eventually use out on your advertising campaigns. During that time, we're building your content library for your ads, for your socials. How can we build powerful hooks that engage people and increase our chances of getting that high quality attention? Stage 2 is refining the sales process based on this initial database reactivation. If you've got a database of 5,000 leads, you're looking at dozens and dozens of inquiries. So where is the bottleneck now? You're dealing with a high volume of inquiries. Is it you being able to call people? Is it they all have a certain misconception about the business? They all have an FAQ. How can we solve that in our marketing going forward? And then we launch a social proof campaign. So going to your existing customer base, collecting reviews, collecting testimonials, so that when we now have a new offer, we now have it proven to a past audience, we now have refined the sales process, and now we also have social proof that when we launch the new offer, we can also back that up. So when people engage, they're now getting retargeted with that social proof, with that fresh social proof. Stage 3 of that is taking the offer cold and just really being aggressive on the marketing front. So launching ads, launching organic, launching aggressive email marketing. So, and when I say aggressive, I'm meaning consistent. And then stage 4, how can we assess stages 1 to 3? How can we build a scaling roadmap on the back of this? How can we make any necessary adjustments? And how can we review the retention of people based on the ones that have joined here? This should be 60 to 90 days later. How can we see where are the bottlenecks? Are they falling out? What's the quality? What are the who are the people that are staying? Are the women over 40 versus the 35-year-old men who's staying longer? And then what effect does that have on LTV? Because the best way or the biggest way we can grow the business is reducing the cost to acquire a client relative to their lifetime value. The bigger discrepancy in that, the more lifetime gross profit you make, the more profit you make per customer, the more profit the business makes overall. So that's a very, very high level view of what we do as a business. We aim to build an asset. We don't aim to build some flash in the pan marketing strategy that delivers you 50 leads in a month and then that's what we live off for the back of it. We want to consistently build something that grows while consistently removing you further and further from the doing and more to the thinking. Because there's enough doers in this world, there's not enough thinkers. There's not enough people who can actually deduce information and make smart decisions from that. So we want to build systems that support you and grow over time, that have compounding effects, so that we don't guarantee success tomorrow. We don't guarantee that you're going to have a shiny new Tesla tomorrow, but we almost make it impossible for you to not see success down the line. So instead of guaranteeing you 50K next month, we guarantee that we will put all of the inputs in your business to make it impossible for you to not see that over time. For you to make it impossible for you to not see success over the next 6, 12, 24 months. And the mindset that's benefited my business massively is, how can I not play to win tomorrow, but play to never lose? And the person who's playing the infinite game will never lose. The person who's trying to get to 50K per month, the minute they get there, they fall off. Whereas what we're trying to help businesses do is play the game infinitely, grow infinitely, and enjoy the process. So hopefully you got a lot of value from this video. I'll be excited to answer any questions and speak to you very, very soon.